All right, so let's talk about who you are. Obviously, feel free to dox yourself as much as you like. How did you get into crypto? We'll just start pretty simple.
Yeah, so I'm Dave. I've been in crypto since 2021. I founded Keypo about a year ago, January 25. And to put it simply, I'm the guy you hit up if you're trying to figure out what to do with your seed phrase. I've done a lot of consulting work over the last 4 years and worked with a lot of people that were like new to crypto and was like the person that onboarded them. So not to like do too much name dropping, but like work with folks like Snoop Dogg, Michael Mann, Baron Davis, and like help a lot of them set up their first wallet. And the most harrowing moment of setting up a wallet is when your seed phrase pops up and it's like, write this down on a piece of paper and don't forget it. And if you do, it's all over. And it always freaks people out. And what's really interesting is that even though like wallet technology has gotten way better over the last 4 years, recovery is just, it's stayed exactly the same. And so that's really what motivated me to build this.
Awesome. Yeah. A quick like side note, when I got started with crypto, the concept of seed phrases actually didn't even exist. So that's how long we've come along. You know, I had
you're pre-BIP 39.
Yeah, I had an Electrum file like just on my laptop. So to me the concept of I actually wrote about this on X and like Barcaster. I was like, seed phrases get a lot of hate, and to me it's still like this crazy technology, you know, because I had a file, and then I also had my first wallet was actually a paper wallet.
Okay.
Yeah, like literally it was just a piece of paper, and it was like not even like on fancy paper, like where it was like tough or anything. It was like literally like the simplest like piece of paper. It was like thin. They cheaped out on it. So to me, seed phrases they're super cool tech, but I agree with you. Like we haven't moved much. We've moved in a great direction in terms of like passkey sign in, even maybe like iCloud backup encrypted versions of it, like on your iCloud, you know, which again, you know, it depends always. Like there comes with trade-offs with any of these methods. And then you have like the OG, like just write down the words on a piece of paper and yeah, like how do you store that? So yeah, I'm glad that someone is thinking about this, because as someone that's been in the space for a hot minute now, I think about this a lot. Like I think about like how the hell do I share this with my wife and like inheritance planning and all that. Not that I have a lot in crypto, but you know, it's just like,
yeah,
I don't want it to go to zero either, you know, like or just sit there. Like I'd like them to access all my Bigfoot.
You could do a whole second episode on inheritance planning. That's like that's a can of worms in terms of how to manage that. And like, I know a lot of people, like when it comes to that side of it, as well as just like recovery stuff in general, what I found from talking to people is that they like pretty much everyone has like custom OPSEC for how they do it, whether it's like the inheritance side or just like recovering it for yourself. And so I really tried to build this from the ground up for that customer, the person that has the like, you know, the treasure map to get to the seed phrase. I tried to build like a technology solution for that type of person.
Yeah. All right. So let's jump into it, man. So, I mean, I think it's really cool that you helped, you know, celebrities and also just normal people get into crypto. I think that's really cool. I know I've had that experience, and I think about it like constantly from, there's like wallets I would use, but there's like, I'm someone that's been in the space for a while, and I feel comfortable doing a bunch of things that most people don't feel like I have an air gap Linux device that I use for certain occasions. Most people aren't going to have that. So I always think about like, if I was going to onboard someone today, like what is the easiest way I would get them onboarded? So I think the fact that you're going through it with people that aren't necessarily crypto native is always a good perspective to keep in mind with your tools. So what kind of led you, like what personal experience led you to wanting to build Keypo, or even go down this rabbit hole of like how to protect your seed phrases. Was there like a scenario like you lost your own seed phrase, someone lost a seed phrase and you helped them out? Like what led you to wanting to build it?
Yeah. So through like all the different projects I've worked on, I like somehow I've worn a lot of different hats, but one of the hats I've consistently worn is setting up wallets. So like whether it's multi-sig for a treasury or clients I'm working with that I've never dealt with crypto before, need a wallet for the first time. And so I'm just like consistently been setting up wallets. And I think I was trying to tally how many wallets I've set up since working in the space. And I think it's like somewhere around 500.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like it's always coming up. And like I was saying earlier, the wallets themselves are getting better and better and easier to use and more secure. But like there's still the recovery aspect of it is it's stayed the same. Like one example is I was helping someone set up a Privy wallet, and Privy's great. Like I love using their wallet, but like you can export your private key from Privy, and it says if you go to export it, it says like write it down on a piece of paper. And so it hasn't evolved. And it's also like there's kind of like two options that to me they're like at the very opposite ends of the spectrum. So there's like writing on a piece of paper or like some kind of custom OPSEC, breaking it up into pieces and giving, 8 words to your mom and another 8 to your sister or whatever. And then on the other side, there's like just going custody products like Coinbase custody, Casa, ones like that. And I just found that like personally, like I never wanted to use a custody product. Like I always wanted to have just like full control over the wallet, the seed phrase, all of that. And from talking to folks in the space, everyone just kind of had that same sentiment of like, yeah, like I want something that's where I'm not relying on a company to hold my assets, but I'm not happy with it. It keeps me up at night. And so I really I kind of started from this first principle of like, okay, if I were to use a recovery product, like what would that look like? And I just kind of built it from there.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's good to hear that you saw that there was a gap even for yourself, and you're like, I don't see anything out here that does it, and then let me build it myself. Yeah, we need more of that energy. I mean, I even say that for myself.
I mean, it's say that like the rule number 1 for starting something is solve a problem for yourself.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That makes sense. So you've been building Keypo for a year. Do we want to talk about what exactly Keypo? Am I saying it correctly too? Like,
yeah. Okay, it's like a repo for your keys.
Okay, cool. Do we want to explain kind of what Keypo does so like everyone just gets up to speed on if they haven't seen? Here, let me pull it up while you're talking about it. You share this like imagery that's really great. But yeah, what is Keypo?
Yeah, so the high level is it's designed to have no single point of failure and protect your seed phrase with battle tested hardware and biometric security. So the way it works is there's 2 apps. It's a Mac OS app and an iOS app. The Mac OS app is kind of like the meat of it. You upload your seed phrase and what it does. And when I say upload, by the way, it's designed as like a local first app. There's no, like, we don't have a server. We're not collecting PII. We're not touching your seed phrase ever. But you upload it into the app and it breaks it up into 3 pieces using Shamir secret sharing, which for anyone listening that's not familiar with it, it's a very mature cryptographic technique, been around since the late 70s, and allows you to take a piece of data, break it up into 3 pieces that look random, and you need a fraction of the pieces to recover the original piece of data. In our case, you need 2 of the 3 to recover it.
Yeah, and just a quick interject for most people too. I use Shamir, and it's different to like I'll give you a good example of something that I see constantly people asking, which is, let's say you have a 24-word seed phrase. This is not doing like splitting it in, like you're grabbing the first 6 words and that's one piece, and you're doing another 6 words and that's another piece, and then another 6 words. That's 18. My bad. Whatever the number is when you divide it by 3. Yeah. It's actually not even that. So just so everyone's aware, it's actually not that. It is a whole 12 new words. It's a whole new, like exactly like a seed essentially. So it's not that. Don't do that. That's actually really bad. Do never do that. So this is basically 3 new completely like it's like Horcruxes.
It's scrambling.
Yeah, you're scrambling. It's like Horcruxes and like Harry Potter. Like you need 2 of the 3 to like put it back together. So please do.
I love that you said Horcrux because I did at one point consider calling this Horcrux, Digi Horcrux.
Yeah,
wasn't sure like I love Harry Potter, so to me like that is immediately, but I'm sure a lot of crypto people love Harry Potter, but yeah.
I just wanted to make sure. Sorry to interject. I just didn't want people to think like, wait, I could just grab the first 7 words and do it myself. Like, why do I need this thing? Like, it is definitely not that. It is a little bit more sophisticated than that. So yeah, continue. And I have an image up too, so people can see what Shamir's secret sharing is.
So breaks it up into 3 pieces, and then each piece is encrypted using the secure enclave of the hardware device. So just quick side note, what's a secure enclave? Sometimes referred to as trusted execution environments or TEEs, but it's essentially a dedicated piece of hardware for cryptographic operations. And the key feature of it is that the private key never physically leaves the hardware. And this is also like a relatively mature technology. It's been around since the early 90s. It's used to protect your biometric data on your phone. A lot of fintech uses TEEs, government use cases for it as well. So the first share is stored on your computer using its secure enclave, and it's encrypted with a policy that the decryption key can only be used. It can only be prompted by Touch ID. Then the second share is encrypted on your YubiKey, which is one of these guys. And this has a secure enclave in it as well. And it can only be decrypted using a pin that you set, as well as you have to like physically touch the YubiKey. This one, there's a few different models of YubiKeys. We work with most of them, but so this one, it's like anyone can touch it. They do make some where it's like you register your fingerprint. For the Touch ID on your computer, it's like the fingerprint that you register when you upload the seed phrase. It's not like anyone can just touch your computer. And then the third share is encrypted on your iPhone using its secure enclave with Face ID as like the policy to do the decryption. So the end result is you have, no single point of failure. You have kind of like 2 layers of security. There's the Shamir secret sharing as well as the secure enclave encryption, and it's backed by biometrics. So that's kind of the high level how it works.
Awesome. Thank you for explaining that. Yeah, definitely big fan of YubiKey. I have a bunch of them. Got backups to YubiKeys.
Oh, and one thing too with YubiKeys, just a quick side note, because I get this question a lot. So if you use YubiKey for like 2FA, this will have this has no effect on how you use it elsewhere. It uses a completely different like physical slot inside the YubiKey. So just wanted to put that disclaimer.
Cool. Yeah, and then if folks want, so here's kind of explaining how it works. You're also able to look at the website as well. We'll put a link down below for people after the fact, but it's keypo.io. You can sign up, register, and explore kind of how it separates itself from other services. There's some pretty good stuff in here, so I suggest people definitely go check it out. So let me ask you something regarding. So I'm a pretty like paranoid person when it comes to this stuff. What would you say is like the best method of spinning up like a Keypo? Like assuming your device, I don't want to say you think it's like it has malware in it, but like you know, you want to make sure like when you're actually putting it in the software, it's about as safe as you can do, So do you suggest people do this like with a net new laptop? Is it better to start on your phone that's like not connected to Wi-Fi? Does it have to be connected to the Wi-Fi for while you're creating it? Like, yeah, just what do you think would be like kind of best practices as much as you can for like an average person to spin up a Keypo vault or setting it up essentially? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So a few things. So first off, just to answer your question, does it need to be connected to Wi-Fi? So it does, but it doesn't. It's using your local area network to send the share. It basically uses the same tech as AirDrop for sending the share from your computer to your phone.
Okay.
It needs to be like on like a Wi-Fi network, but it's not leaving the network, if that makes sense.
Okay, cool. No, that is a good call out, like, yeah, like, because that's what I'm thinking about is like, does it need to go ping outside of my network to like build itself and to share like the secrets, or is it local like that? Like kind of what you're saying, like it's AirDrop, like it's just local LAN. So assuming as long as your home Wi-Fi is fine, and then, you're good for the most part.
Yeah, exactly. So even before I built this, I always recommended folks have a dedicated computer for crypto, like not just for backing up your seed phrases, but also just for like using your wallets, interacting with dApps, even if you have hardware wallets. Because like what I found from just seeing all the different exploits that happen out there, they like most of like, I think some people think of like, they think of hacks and they think of exploits as like this sort of like, crazy, like you don't even realize what's happening and they, somehow get in your computer. But most of the time it's phishing. It's like,
yeah,
it's only and it's phishing. That's like 99% of the time. And so if you just have a dedicated machine that you're not using for just like everyday internet usage, you're significantly decreasing like the attack surface for something bad to happen. So here, that's like the same case, right? I think a dedicated computer is the way to go. One thing I will say, and this was part of the design decisions that I made for building this, is like web app versus computer/phone app.
Yeah.
And the reason that I went with the latter is that you do gain some extra security when you build it as an Apple app. You can basically, your app can run in a secure sandbox, which doesn't necessarily like nothing in cybersecurity is perfect. Like Mossad will find a way if they do. Right? I don't know. Act like it's always, there's always going to be like ways to get in and you have to be, persistent, but it makes it a lot harder for malware to like peek into the memory versus if it's like running in a browser. So that was like one really conscious decision we made. But yeah, to kind of come back to your question, I always recommend like dedicated computer. And for sure, like if you want to be really paranoid about it, like would upload your seed phrases like when it's in that like factory initial mode where you hasn't touched the internet yet. That's definitely like the best way to go. But I think like dedicated computer is in general just like good practice to get into if you're worried about that stuff.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it's good practice. I have like a dedicated machine, and it's annoying, like I test a lot of apps and give a lot of feedback to people that are building cool apps, and I don't carry it with me all the time. So sometimes I'm like, okay, like it stayed at home and I'm not home for like the next 10 hours. So I'm like, I'll try your solution in like 10 hours when I'm back home with it. Or when I go on vacation, I don't take it with me usually on vacation. Depends on the kind of vacation it is. But yeah, same thing. I'm like, yeah, I'll deal with that in 2 weeks, which is, like you said, it's good and bad,
I've always found, this is now going more into the degen side. Like I am my worst enemy. So like having it where like I can't just like on a whim, like ape into something is also like a good
thing. Yeah. I know. I agree with you. There's some cool stuff that people are building, like even like on the Bitcoin side, that's where I got started, where there's like mini scripts, that concept of mini scripts So you can actually buy Bitcoin and then put it in a wallet where you actually can't do anything. You can't move it for like 2 years or whatever you want. And I'm like, that's honestly what people need. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, don't be tempted. Yeah, just don't be tempted, like remove the temptation. Like the software literally prevents you from moving it.
It's called mini scripts.
Yeah, they're like mini scripts. Yeah, I actually like wrote about it where I was like, man, I think more people should like implement these kind of like rules, like especially like on the Ethereum side. Like I'm like, you guys, like that's where all the smart contract stuff and all the cool stuff can happen. Anyways, yeah, I digress.
That's very interesting for sure.
Yeah, it's a cool concept. It's just like, yes, it's going to be annoying, but like something like Bitcoin, like if you would have bought it like 2 years ago, you'd be up now, I think. So yeah, you're good. Yeah, thanks for kind of explaining that it uses like your local network. It doesn't have to ping, outward to the like real world or the internet, and you can kind of, like best case is like net new phone, dedicated machine, you build it, and then you share it between your devices. So does that mean like, is there a copy? There's a copy in each device then, right? So like my phone will have a copy, my laptop will have a copy, and then my YubiKey will have a copy. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the only thing is the metadata is synced to your iCloud keychain, but the actual like encrypted shares are not. But it'll work without connecting to the internet, because like iCloud keychain, it'll just kind of like sync locally if you're not connected.
Cool. Yeah, no, it's a cool concept. There's another protocol that came out recently, which is like wallet as a protocol. I don't know if you saw that, but they announced that like DevConnect, it's like the same concept really of like Shamir secret sharing, except one of the seeds or shares is on the blockchain, like on a P2P network. Like it's decentralized essentially.
So I actually originally thought of doing something like that, because the original idea for Keypo was like completely different from this. It was all about sharing private data on the web and like using decentralized rails to do that. And so we like built this SDK that enabled you to do that. It's still live. It's on the site. So for folks that are interested in that, definitely check it out. And so originally I was like, oh, like recovery of your seed phrase is like a good use case for that SDK. But I started talking to folks and they were like, there is nothing you can tell me that will convince me to put even an encrypted version of my seed phrase on the blockchain. And I was like, that's valid.
Yeah. I mean, it's an attack vector, it's like it's out there, so yeah, no, it sounds cool. Trust me. Like I struggle with that, where like it sounds super dope and I'm like, yeah, that should exist, and then other days I think about it and I'm like, man, that sounds like pretty bad.
Maybe at some point, like we'll have, one share.
Yeah.
That might be a good balance.
Yeah. And to be fair, I think those guys and gals are doing one share, like one shard of the three is just on the decentralized one. The other two is on you to figure it out essentially. Yeah. So it's only one. So like the idea is kind of like social recovery a little bit, like cool concept, there's another, I'm on my P2P, like peer-to-peer rabbit hole right now. So yeah, that's where my brain goes to. Like there's a Pair.
Yes.
Yeah, Pair came out, which is kind of cool. Like I use KeyPass for some of my more secure passwords and secrets that I need. And KeyPass is cool, but I saw Pair and I was like, oh, this looks kind of cool. And it's like crypto adjacent. So I'm giving that a try right now. And they use, I think they put their stuff like that. Like it goes through Tor and it lands on the blockchain. And yeah, so it's cool. It's cool tech. We'll see. We'll see if you guys go in that direction.
Well, I've been thinking about like where this goes from here. And the main thing that I'm thinking about is just like new recovery methods that are beyond just like, because right now, if you think of like Keypo as a policy engine, it's like proof of device kind of is like the policy. And I've been thinking more about like how you could expand that to other types of policies. And that obviously opens things up to like now, like things are touching the cloud. And so I was thinking about like maybe there's some world in the near future where Keypo uses Tor or one of these peer-to-peer networks to kind of implement some more exotic policies. So definitely it's an interesting space for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't mind me asking, like, what are I'm not gonna hold you to it, but like, what are some like ideas that like come to mind for you in terms of exploration, like on what's next for Keypo, I guess?
I mean, the most obvious one for me is like email/SMS backup, and I just like there's a simple way to do it, but it involves trusting a third party. And I've every now and then I've been diving into like, is there a way to use like zero knowledge proofs or some of that kind of tech to trustlessly back it up with like your email?
Yeah,
that to me is like the most obvious one. Like if I could have, because a lot of folks I talk to, they're like, this is cool, but I don't have a YubiKey.
yeah, exactly.
Like if it was like laptop, phone, email,
yeah,
that's pretty dope. I think people.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, one, I would push back on people. People should get a YubiKey. Yeah, like I literally have mine all the time, like on my wallet. Yeah, I think they're super cool products, and you should definitely get one. I don't have one of the new ones with like the cool fingerprint sensor. Mine's like the YubiKey 5, I think. Yeah, they're actually. I should put you in contact with the ZK email guys. There's actually someone that has figured out the whole like ZK email thing, and yeah, I feel like that'd be a cool enhancement, like email for folks that aren't like maybe carrying a YubiKey with them all the time or whatever.
It was. So I was talking to one person who's like a pretty big whale, and he was like, just this is like the most like far out policy.
Yeah, you're good.
I thought you probably would find entertaining. So he was like, it would be cool if I could give the shares to my friends, and I could be like, you have to go to a location to unlock it. And the location is like the place that we played basketball when we were growing up.
Oh, that's sick, actually.
Yeah. I talked to, there's this one company that I was talking to. They actually like just went through YC called Multi-Factor. They're not a crypto company, but they're like kind of doing a lot of these like sort of different authentication methods for secrets. And I had a brief conversation with them about location-based stuff. And they thought that it wasn't that far away from being able to do it where like you can't like spoof, through VPN or whatever. But we'll see. Anyway, that was the one that was like, that's a pretty interesting idea.
Yeah, that's a crazy idea. I mean, just so you're kind of aware, I do a scavenger hunt that's like GPS, like location based at conferences. And that's the thing I think about all the time is like spoofing, because there's money that I give out from little nouns and nouns, and whenever there's money on the line or money to be made, people get creative, but I do know that like people, I think about the spoofing GPS thing, but if that can get solved, that's really cool. I like the concept of like sharing your encrypted with your peers, and the password essentially is like, they got to go somewhere essentially, like, or they know the password. That's fine too. Like obviously, I don't know if I'd go like on a 2-3 setup if I would do that, but maybe something a little bit more exotic, like a 5-3. They can have one of the 5. I mean, you could even get into like, what is it like in wills and trusts? Like the person that's in charge of like distributing your executor. Yeah, like they could have one. That's kind of the first person. So they have like a fiduciary duty to, to hold it and not be a shady person, or else they would go out of business. Yeah, that's cool. What about like NFTs or anything like that? Or like, yeah, I guess NFTs can move. Like soul-bound NFTs is kind of what I was thinking. But yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff.
So like using an NFT as
one of them. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's interesting. I haven't thought of that. That's an interesting. Yeah, it could be soul-bound. I mean, the thing with soul-bound NFTs though is that like you could like share the wallet, I guess. But maybe if the wallet was like a passkey type wallet, that could maybe work.
Yeah,
that's an interesting idea.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's always fun to think about kind of these things. Let's see. So, are there any kind of like in your current implementation, like what are some of the downsides? Like is there any downsides in terms of like let's say I get a new phone.
Right.
Has anyone gone through that experience? Have you gone through that experience yourself with your own product? Like what does that flow look like? It doesn't have to be like downside, like you talk down to yourself, like in the product. Yeah. Just more like, yeah. Like,
what kind of person would I be if I'm like, no, it's perfect. It works in every, it's ridiculous.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, so has anyone gone through the flow of like new laptop or new phone, like new YubiKey? Like I even know like I had an issue where my Gmail, I back up my YubiKey, like, and even that flow, like Gmail was like, didn't recognize it. And I was like, what the hell? Yeah. Like I did everything right and you're still giving me crap over here. Yeah. So it's always like what I tell people is like theory and then the messy real world, like what happens. Yeah. So have you had any experiences kind of with that? And what are some like lessons you learned from the messiness of the real world?
Yeah. So the long and short of it is like, if you lose one of the devices, like you're not going to be able to use that share anymore. The plus side of it is that like if that device was stolen from you, like the person that stole it from you isn't going to be able to use it either. So you don't have to necessarily worry about that. But yeah, so that is like a bit of a downside. If you have a new laptop, that share isn't going to be recoverable. Though you can still use like the other two devices to recover. And so one thing that I've been thinking about in terms of how to combat that is I think that one thing for sure is like what we were talking about earlier, adding new policies, adding new ways to back up the share. That definitely makes it more resilient. The other thing too is just giving more options for N and F. So like in this position, it's 2 of 3, but like you mentioned 3 of 5. I've actually seen a couple. There's this recovery product that came out last year called Backup Buddy. It came out of Global Hackathon and they have, I think it's like 3 of 9, I want to say is how they had it set up. And so I think like, it's not a one size fits all approach, but one thing I've been thinking about is just allowing people to just pick the N and F themselves and just be like, I kind of envision it as like a dashboard where you're like, okay, like the first share is my computer. And then there's like 3 shares that are on 3 different YubiKeys. Like you could go crazy with it. And I think for each user, there's going to be like some balance there between like, this is really convenient, but it's really insecure, to like, this is really secure, but it's really inconvenient and kind of brittle. It's kind of finding some balance there. But yeah, just to answer your question, like the policy engine right now is like proof of device. So if you lose one of the devices, like that share is not usable anymore, you obviously still can use like the other 2.
And can it be mitigated then? Like if I have a new phone, if I just keep in the old device until I can like switch it, I guess, to like the new one, or
sorry,
like, so like, let's say you're going to get a new phone and you're like, let me sell this one now so I can get the new one, like you just need the money or whatever. Can it be mitigated? Like, can you move it over to the new phone if you just hold on to it and then sell it after the fact? Like once you have the new phone installed and set up?
Right.
Or
so the way it works right now is like you would have to like recover the seed phrase and like redo the ceremony. But I like that idea. I'm going to write that down. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I was kind of just thinking about it, because I had that issue too happen. Like, what is it, like one-time passwords, like Authy, like this happened like in 2021 when I was talking to an artist. They sold the phone and they had their new one, but they didn't like set up the phone in time, or like basically they didn't set it up when they had both of them. And then they like lost out on their one-time passwords, which led to a bunch of other issues. And I was like, this is why you have a different provider other than Authy, and back up your own one-time passwords and all that. Anyways, they learned their lesson, but Yeah, so what I do now when I get a new phone is I have both devices. I set up the first one. I literally just open all my apps to make sure everything is like, it's recognizing everything. And once I feel like, okay, my typical workflow of like opening up this app, opening up this thing, everything's working. And then I'm like, fine, I now feel comfortable to let go of this old device, like sell it, like obviously factory reset, do all that, and then sell it, get some money back. But yeah,
that's a really good idea. I'll definitely look into that. One thing too, by the way, you mentioned like Authy. So I don't advertise as much on the site because I'm like trying to keep it laser focused on seed phrases, but you can use Keypo to back up just like any arbitrary secret. And the reason I set that up is because I kind of realized when I started doing this that there's a lot of these types of recovery codes like everywhere. Like GitHub has it, your password managers have it, Authy like they all and it works exactly the same. They're always like write it down. So
yeah.
I just thought I was like, oh, like I should use this for that too. So you can use it for that as well.
Yeah. No, it seems to have like, it's so funny that, you know, I don't know where it got started. I'm just like, my naivety will be like, it got started in crypto. And then, yeah, like I've noticed like in the last decade or so, like I go on websites and they're like, write this down and save this in a like safe place and not your password manager. It has to be offline. And I'm like, dude, this is hilarious. Like this is a seed phrase. Like you're giving me a seed phrase. Like, and like treat it as such. So yeah, I think the amount of secrets, like I think Proton Mail has one like that.
Yes.
That's where I saw it like a couple years ago, and I forget what else, like just some other ones. But yeah, it seems to be pretty pervasive, and which is good. You know, you don't get locked out if you take care of it. But yeah, I think Keypo has like you said, potential to support not just your seed phrase, but just any secret really. So let's see. Yeah, I think choosing, you know, your setup, I think is good. I know that comes with its like confusion, like for people that are like net new, you know, like what do I choose? Like they might choose a 404 thinking it's one thing, but it's actually like you need all 4 devices just to be able to recover it.
Yeah, balancing the UX is I was kind of thinking the way I would do it is having it like default to 2 of 3 and then having like a, you know, advanced option or something like that so that it doesn't
You should look at a Sparrow wallet on Bitcoin. They have a nice UX UI on when you're setting up a multi-sig. It's actually really cool. Like when you move the N, it moves automatically the M for you. And then so like you have to like, you basically have to know like if you're going to move it back to be a 4 of 4 or a 5 of 5, and then it warns you like say like FYI you will need all 5 just to recover this thing, you know. Yeah, I would look at Sparrow Wallet. Like they did it pretty nicely because like the first time I set up a multi-sig, like yeah, I was like freaking out, but then after that, once you get used to it, you know, you're good. Let's see. Yeah, so where do you see kind of, I think you kind of alluded a little bit to it in terms of like backing up other things other than just like your seed, but where do you hope to see kind of Keypo, like let's say next full run, whenever that is, like where do you want to see yourself like in a year with Keypo? Like do you want it to be everyone's aware of it, everyone is hopefully securing, you know, there's trade-offs with everything. So like I'm not going to say Keypo is perfect and any other solution is perfect too. Like piece of paper burns. I saw a cool thing recently called Seed Hammer, and it's like titanium backup QR codes. That thing looks sick. So everything will have its downfall, you know, like, but you need like a machine that's like engraving it and it's not cheap, you know, so everything has its trade-offs. But like, yeah, where do you want to see Keypo like in a year from now? Like what are the, yeah, where do you want to see it next full run? Do you want it, everyone is aware of it and using it?
Yeah. I mean,
what are some goals there?
So like zooming out, when I think about like where things are moving over the next few years, wallets and key management in general, the tech is getting better. It's getting easier to use, but it's also getting more fragmented as passkeys become more popular, account abstraction wallets become more popular. Like I think on average, like the average crypto user is going to have more and more wallets across and that use different tech stacks, use different providers. And so as a result of that, I think the recovery layer is going to become more and more important because it can kind of act as like a unified substrate for wallets. And I think that's why like Vitalik has written multiple articles about recovery. It's a very important problem. And so my goal with Keypo is like, I would love it if a year from now, like you're signing up for whatever your favorite wallet is and there's like a button that's like back up the private key with Keypo, you know, like that's kind of where I would love to see this go. I think there's a lot of stuff that has to happen in order to get there, but that's where I want to take this.
Yeah, that'd be really cool because that would be. I know that's how I learned about a bunch of stuff. Like the first time around, like the first time I saw Nunchuck too. Like it was like do a multi-sig here, and I was like, what is this thing? I've never heard of this, you know? So that's how you find new tech sometimes, which is dope. But yeah, that would be a really great flow. Anything to get people to just to protect their secrets better, you know? I think that's the ultimate goal we all should be striving for. That's why I know I started liking like Safe, like on Ethereum. I initially got started with Argent before. I think now it's like completely something different. But I like the social recovery aspect of it, which is like you could enter someone else's email or phone number and they had to go through like some process to verify, you know, that you actually lost your wallet. Social recovery is like a cool concept.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully Keypo will. I hope you explore some of that stuff, man. That's
yeah, no, we will. We definitely will. There's so many different ways to set this stuff up for different preferences. So social recovery is something that's like very important to me. And I definitely see us kind of moving in that direction. I mean, the other thing too, like one of the reasons that I built this is that like I love multi-sigs. I use multi-sigs a lot. And I also used Argent Wallet back in the day. But I wanted to build something that's not a wallet that like I love just like have a ledger and it works with like every app. I mean, I'm a little paranoid about what happened this week with Ledger. Maybe I'm gonna have another wallet, but whatever. That's, you know, I have a Ledger, it works. And most like every time I've set up a multi-sig, it's like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, so I didn't want to build a wallet. I wanted to just build like a recovery product for my wallets. I think that was a really important distinction.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think there's wallets are competitive as hell, man.
That's for sure.
Wallets are super competitive, and I think there's a lot of room for growth in the area that you're focused in. The last cool project that I remember seeing that I liked in this space was, are you familiar with Superbacked?
No.
I'll have to send you that one. It's pretty dope. It's a pretty cool concept too. I was trying to become like an influencer for a hot minute because it was actually that cool. I'll send it to you. Actually, I can send it here. Same concept.
Started looking at the other window, and then it was like the video is going to pause. I was like, no. Yes, I'll look at it afterwards.
Here you go. No, you're good. Whoa, sent it twice. Yeah, Superbacked. Yeah, that was the last time. But I feel like there's not enough focus on this side of it. So I think you're in a good space for growth and all that, and having a good experience, like while you're setting it up, or even like if it was like if you went with Safe, if Safe was like, hey, if you want to back up, I don't know, even like MetaMask, like any wallet provider, if they could just be like, you want to back it up, and then there's like an extra option to do Keypo, that'd be a huge W. Exactly. How big's the team right now? Is it just you?
So it's just me building it.
Damn, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. So the original version of the product, which was like this SDK, I had a co-founder and a founding engineer. It was actually, so my co-founder was a co-founder and was the first CTO at Yuga. And then he had a baby and he was like, I can't work on this anymore. So So it went down to just me. But yeah, so solo founder, building it all, marketing it all.
Yeah.
Which is stressful, but also really fun because I just have total control over everything at all times.
What do you think is like what's like the biggest challenge you guys that you're facing right now in terms of Keypo? Like what would you say is that's number one thing?
I mean, I think it's like, how do you, like, when you're a solo founder, it's like, how do you what do you prioritize and how do you spend your time every day is just like the most challenging. And I have an engineering background, as you'd imagine. And so I always gravitate towards building things. And that was actually like the hardest lesson in starting something on my own, is that you have to know when to stop building things and to start spending time just like convincing people to use the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I could literally I would if it were up to me, like if I didn't stop myself, I would just be building new features all day, every day. But at a certain point, you got to just like stop and work on, building a community, building distribution channels and all that stuff.
Yeah, I see that a lot. I spend a lot of time on Farcaster, and there's a lot of good engineers there or developers, and a lot of them have cool ideas, cool products, cool mini apps that they're building, and then they're just like, damn, I gotta like market it, I gotta do onboarding, and it's messy, man. It's messy. So kudos to you. But yeah, I see you replying like all the time. Now that I follow you on Twitter, I see you like constantly replying, which is great. I was like,
you're grinding, man. That's what you gotta do.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, you're out here hustling. And the funny thing is, like, I think that's how I found you. I think I like wrote some article, like someone posted like a general article. I responded to it, and then you're like, oh, check out this thing. And I was like, what the hell is this thing? So it got me.
All right, good to know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep replying.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Look at that time. Are you still good on time?
Yeah. Totally.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So for where do we want to send folks? Do you need like testers?
Yeah, I mean, we're in beta right now. So everything's in test flight, planning to put it through App Store review very soon, like probably next week. But if you go to keypo.io and put in your email, you'll get sent all the info for testing it in test flight. So yeah, would love more feedback. So please go to the site, sign up, try it out. Let me know when you sign up, like you'll get my email, and feel free also to, if you prefer, to hit me up on Twitter or Farcaster. It's SirDave-ETH, SERDAVE-ETH. Yeah, just looking for as many people to try out and give me feedback.
Yeah, I just signed up for it now. Do you need a Mac? I actually don't have a Mac.
You do need a Mac. So okay. I'm definitely planning on adding more. So we talked about like the different policies, but then the other side of it is like supporting other devices. And so, yeah, I've definitely gotten requests for Android, Linux, things like that. Haven't gotten any for Windows yet, but yeah, so I'll definitely be trying to roll out other device support as well. But right now it's restricted to Apple. And one of the reasons that I did that, by the way, is, so I'm sure you've seen the discourse around TEs. Like some people love it and some people hate it in crypto, right?
Yeah.
And the big reason that people hate it is they're like, you can hack a TE. Like it's people.
Yeah, it's a black box.
Right? But the thing is, so the reason that you can, so most TEs, the way they're designed, they explicitly are designed to protect against a remote attack, but not a IRL physical attack.
Yeah.
So there was like this article that came, there's security researchers called TE.fail that they're constantly just like breaking TEs. And typically the way that it works is it's like, you have like a circuit card and a server. It has the TE and then it has like the main processor, and they'll just like cut traces and route it somewhere else, and they basically are able to like discern from like the communication like what the private key is. That's like generally what the attack vector is for TEs. What's interesting about Apple is their TE is like it's literally on the silicon die of the processor. Like it's inside the package, it's on the die. And so it's way harder to crack. There's actually, like, as far as I know, I mean, I've tried to do as much research on this as possible. Since Apple started producing their own silicon, they have not had a reported incident with their TEs. They did when they were still in the Intel world, like there were the occasional ones, but since they've gone to their own silicon, it hasn't happened yet. So that was like one of the reasons too that I like started from like an Apple first methodology, is because they seem to be just like at the forefront of security.
Yeah, it also makes sense, you know, like I'm one of the weird people that has an iPhone and a Linux machine.
I love Linux, so no hate there.
Yeah, you know, like I actually don't even own a laptop. That's a funny thing. Other than my work one, which I can't use any crypto related stuff anyway, so, or do personal stuff with. So yeah, I actually don't own a laptop. I think that's on my list of things to do this year, is probably go buy one. And yeah, it makes sense, you know, like, because my first question would even be like, I don't even know of any Windows machines or Linux machines that have secure elements. I'm sure there's some, but like then you're having to deal with people that are like, I have a Windows PC, but it's not the right model, you know, like, or not the right one, you know, because there's only like, maybe it's common. I don't know. I've never looked.
I think Windows does. I'm pretty sure Windows does, but I'm not sure about Linux.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, framework. I'm like, I don't even know if framework has any TE. I mean, I'll look right now.
Yeah, because I mean, like Android phones have TEs, so they.
Yeah, the phone part I feel more comfortable with. I know Pixel has like I know they have it for sure, and I know like, yeah, the phones I'm less concerned about. It's more like the laptops. Like I don't know if this framework laptop.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I've thought about that, because like the way that it's designed, it's like everything kind of flows through the desktop or laptop app, but maybe in the future we'll launch something where like you download an app on like your Linux computer, but then you're not backing up anything to the computer. You're like, you know, then you're distributing it to your phone and your YubiKey and stuff like that. That might be something to look into.
Yeah, like if your phone is the initiator,
right?
And then versus like,
being able to do it through your phone.
Yeah. Although I do prefer desktop experiences overall. I don't know, just something to think about. I would love to try it out, but I actually don't have a Mac.
Okay, that's good enough.
So I'm wondering. I'm sure a lot of people do have Macs and stuff. I'm just an odd duck. Cool. Yeah. Let me know if you have any questions on the seed signer too, man. They're super fun tools. Like do yourself building wallets is super dope.
That I used to be, before I got into crypto, I have a master's degree in electrical engineering. So I was a hardware designer for 10 years.
Oh, that's sick.
Crypto, like I actually like have not fucked around with hardware at all. And now I'm kind of like, oh, like this is the perfect like fusion of like my background and my interests. So
yeah. I'll have to send you a ping on like someone modified a seed signer with to use Java cards, which I was explaining to people like what a Java card is. But yeah, super cool. Like you can, so the Java card itself hosts the seed. It generates the seed in the card and then it's stored in there. So it's like a secure element, or does have a secure element, and you can create a reader for it. So people are doing crazy stuff out in the world, which I love to see. Yeah. Anyways. All right. So we will thank you for your time.